Hi everyone, Sky13 here, and today I'm going to be reviewing the third Doctor story, The Green Death. Now this is quite a classic story and one that's fondly thought of by a lot of fans. It's the last story to feature Casey Manning as Joe, and it's also, in a way, the end of the cozy unit family era, because after this you got Invasion of the Dinosaurs, which of course has the betrayal of Mike Yates in it, and then not long after that unit family just kind of like, well, unit itself just kind of like fades away once you get to the Seeds of Doom, which has no regulars in it, and then after that you don't see unit until the Outfield, I think, which is the late 80s 7th Doctor story. So yeah, it's noteworthy for those two reasons. Now, it's often remembered as the one with the maggots and whatnot, and I personally remember it mostly from when I was younger. They used to show Classic Who on UK TV Gold. Not sure if anyone remembers that, but they used to show it there. And this, along with the Demons, is the story I remember most from them. The repeats on there. Now, if you're not aware of this, they have recently started showing Classic Who episodes on Horror Channel. So I think if you have the Horror Channel available to watch, then you should probably watch some episodes, because they're not showing all of them in order. They're just showing a couple of random ones. They're showing random stories. It is shown in chronological order, but just random stories. And this one was on recently, and I thought I'd review it. I don't have the DVD. I only saw it on here, so just in case anyone wants to know that. So yeah, let's get into the review itself. Now, I said earlier it's remembered as the one with the maggots, and that's quite odd considering that maggots aren't really the main villain or monsters in this. They're just kind of like there as a side effect. And yeah, the main villain is Boss, who's the villain last to the end of this story. And yeah, that's that. And kind of like global chemicals themselves are quite big villains in this story as well. Now, a lot of people like this story a lot. Some people rate it 10 out of 10. Some people think it's their favourite. I'm not too sure about that, to be honest. I mean, towards the end it does get much better, but in the first episodes, the first 10 or 15 minutes, you get this odd stuff with Joe. And I mean, Joe's character, they've chucked stuff into Joe's character that was never there before. The whole thing about ecology, the whole thing about her being about the environment was never there before. It all feels very forced just for this story. I don't like it when they do things like that in any TV program, where they just take character and make up traits just for the story, rather than using traits they already have. So yeah, and to be honest, the whole thing is just quite boring a bit with the Doctor and Joe. This is one of the few times when, during Doctor Who, I wanted to get onto the other stuff. It's often in Doctor Who, in the first episode, where you have this stuff without the Doctor and his companion. You have this other stuff, and yeah, it's enjoyable, but what you really want is to get onto the Doctor bits. Me, this was the opposite. I wanted to get away from the Doctor and Joe bits and instead watch the stuff with the stuff that's going on in mine, because it's much more interesting, really. So yeah, there's that about it. Now, Unit itself doesn't really get involved in this story until part 4, but up to then you do have the Brigadier, who gets a fair amount more to do in this story. You got the stuff with him talk about the meat when it's really what's called mushroom. That's quite entertaining. So yeah, I think the Brigadier gets a good amount to do in this story, to be honest. Mike Yates gets a good amount to do since he's hypnotised and whatnot. Sergeant Benton gets a little bit less to do because he's just there really, but he does have a fair amount to do when he's driving around with the Doctor in Bessie, and there's quite a funny line in there where he's feeding the maggots, and then the Doctor just tells him off. And yeah, I think that's quite interesting. I do quite like Benson, so yeah, it's good for that really. But yeah, I think the Welsh stuff was a bit overdone, to be honest. I mean, you got Boyo being said all the time, and you really need to be reminded that much that you're in Wales. So it's not, granted, it's not as bad as it was in Terror of the Zygons, but which was Scotland instead of Wales. But here, I think it's still not as good as it is. I'm not sure how offensive it would be taken if you're Welsh. I don't know. Maybe people don't really care about it. I don't know, but to me, it did seem a bit odd and out of place, really. But I guess that was just the BBC at the time. I guess that was common practice, maybe. I'm not sure if that's the right word for it, but yeah, I'll just say that. It's the best thing I can think of. So yeah. Now, also, you got the CSO in this. Is used for some random reasons. Now, the maggots themselves, you got the there are parts where they literally CSO live maggots onto screen to make them look big and whatnot. Now, I think there is one bit where the Doctor and Joe are going through on the what's it called, on the rail bit, and it really is just so out of place. It really does jar me a lot. I don't see why it has to be there. Now, that's not all the parts using live maggots are bad, because you do have one quite effective shot of the landscape, and it's really just a model shot with loads of maggots on it. But I think it is quite effective, to be honest. So yeah, I'll give that one props. But there are some other CSO bits which really are bad, like where they CSO some random scenes onto like driving and Bessie and whatnot along the heap, where they just CSO random bits of that in. Apparently they forgot to film them, I don't know. But when it just jumps between the two, it really does get jarring, and it makes you think, really? Could you not film that there? I'm not sure the reason why. Maybe there is one. Maybe it's just because some I think they had a limit to how much film they could use. But still, I mean, it does just make it look cheap and boring. It's because it's not always that way that it does get quite jarring. Now, I know CSO is a big thing about the Pertwee era, but still, for me, that bit doesn't work. So, yeah, that's that, I think. Now, the villains themselves in this boss is quite odd. He's quite amusing, I guess. So, yeah, I'll say I like the villain itself for that. But to be honest, it does feel a bit disjointed at the end. I'm not sure why. Jo gets chucked out of a lot of the ending because she's with Cliff. Now, there is some interesting stuff in the mines with Jo, where there's this quite nice miner character. I don't remember his name, but yeah, he gets infected, and you know, Jo tries to help him and whatnot, and then we just get a bit later in the story where we find out he died. And it's quite sad, really, because there are two other minor characters that died as well. And by the way, when I'm saying minor characters, I mean as in miners in the mine and whatnot, not minor characters as in kind of like smaller roles. But yeah, so they die as well. And there is some bits that are not necessarily gruesome, but just a bit nerve wracking when you just got the green skin death, and that effect's quite good. I like that effect where it's just kind of like glowing. I think that one's done quite well. So yeah, and of course the ending. The ending, I think, as in the end, not the resolution to the story, but the end of the story itself, I think is very good. I mean, the Doctor just silently driving away. It really is quite sad, to be honest, and I think it is a good way to end the story with the companion departure. You got the sadness of Joe and the sadness of the Doctor. While everyone else stays, he just drives off into the sunset, and the silence there is very effective, I think. And that's one of the bits I remember most as a child watching it on UK TV Gold. So yeah, I think now that we got to that point, I think it's time to rate this story. And for me, I'll rate it. I'm stuck between 7 out of 10 and 8 out of 10. To be honest, I think for now I'll go 8 out of 10. I may change my mind. I think I'll have to watch it again to be definite. But for now, I'm gonna be nice and go with 8 out of 10 for this story. It is enjoyable. I will say that it is quite good, but it's overrated. It's not the great thing that everyone says it is for me, but that's just my opinion. You may really like it, and if you do, well, that's good. That's your opinion. So yeah, thank you for watching this, and I'll see you all next week with a review of probably Revelation of the Daleks, which is a 6th Doctor Dalek story, but I'm not 100% certain on that. So yeah, I'll talk to you again next Saturday with that review. If it is that review. If not, well, it'll be a review of a different episode. But yeah, so anyway, thanks for watching everyone. And I'll talk to you all again next Saturday. Bye everyone.